Hey man, it sounds cold when you first hear it, like you're supposed to play games, like you're supposed to ignore her. But this isn't about disrespect, it's about dynamics. You see, when you make a woman your #1 priority, she doesn't feel safe, she feels smothered. It violates a core truth about attraction. Women respect a man whose life is already full, whose mission is bigger than her, and whose emotional center is not up for sale. And when she senses that your entire existence revolves around her, she doesn't feel loved, she feels burdened. It's wild, right? You think being emotionally available, always present, constantly reassuring her will make her feel secure, but it does the opposite. Because deep down, she wants a man who leads, not one who leans. She wants to orbit your world, not become the sun in your sky. The moment you start acting like she's your everything, she starts wondering why you have nothing else going on. And that's when the respect dies. Not because you were weak, but because you placed her above your purpose. This is where most men fall into the trap. They finally get a woman they like, and instead of continuing to build themselves, they pivot entirely toward her. Every decision becomes about her. Every hour is spent thinking about her. And gradually, they lose the edge that made her attracted in the first place. The ambition, the focus, the mystique, it all gets sacrificed on the altar of comfort. And what does she do in response? She pulls away. Not because she's ungrateful, but because you stopped being the man who challenged her. Let's be clear, this isn't about being emotionally distant or treating her poorly. It's about maintaining your center. It's about having a mission, a craft, a vision so strong that even love can't shake it. When she sees that you're not bending over backward for her validation, it flips a switch in her brain. She may get frustrated, she may test you, but deep down, she respects you. Because women don't admire men who worship them. They admire men who are too busy becoming kings to kneel at anyone's feet. And here's the paradox. The more you try to prove your love, the less attractive you become. Because love, in her world, isn't proven through sacrifice, it's felt through energy. If your energy screams, "You're my everything," she hears, "I have no direction." But if your energy says, "You're important, but I have a purpose that comes first," she feels safe in your strength. She knows you won't collapse if she leaves, and that's what makes her stay. Think about the men women obsess over, the ones who seem to have a gravitational pull. They're not the ones texting good morning every day, or constantly asking for reassurance. They're the ones who are present, but not desperate, loving, but not obsessed, available, but not dependent. They have a life that keeps moving with or without her, and because of that, she works harder to earn a place in it. That's the secret. Her respect is tied to how replaceable she feels, not how loved she is. It's harsh, it sounds unfair, but it's reality. Women don't fall for the man who puts her on a pedestal. They fall for the man who's building his empire and invites her along for the ride. When she sees that you're not canceling your goals for date nights, when you keep your gym routine, your business grind, your personal discipline intact, she starts to view you differently. She sees you as the rare man who doesn't need her, but chooses her, and that distinction changes everything. She'll test this. Oh, she'll test it hard. She'll say things like, "You don't make me feel like a priority," or "You care more about your work than me." And if you cave, if you start skipping your purpose to cater to her feelings, you lose her. Not immediately, but slowly, subtly. Because now she knows she can pull you off your path. And if she can move you with emotions, she stops seeing you as the rock. She starts seeing you as another boy looking for her approval. What she really wants is a man who listens but doesn't bend, who hears her emotions but doesn't become enslaved by them, who can hold space for her chaos without giving up his crown. That's the masculine energy she craves but rarely finds. And when you show up like that, not cold but composed, not detached but disciplined, she softens, she submits. Not out of weakness, but because your strength gives her permission to surrender. So no, you don't ignore her. You don't treat her like an option, but you do prioritize your purpose. You do protect your energy. You do make sure that she knows this life I'm building, it's moving forward with or without you. And ironically, that's what pulls her closer. Because women only respect the men who don't make them the center of their universe. They fall for the ones who build universes so powerful. She feels lucky just to be a part of it. A woman doesn't wake up and say, "I want to manipulate him today." But female nature doesn't operate on logic. It flows through emotion, instinct, and deeply rooted evolutionary wiring. And what does that wiring respond to? Power, direction, indifference to her emotional storms. The man who keeps moving forward, unfazed by her dramatics, grounded in his vision, that man doesn't just command attraction, he commands respect. And that respect becomes the foundation of real desire. Without it, you're just her emotional support puppet. It's funny, she might not even consciously understand this dynamic. She'll say she wants attention, more time, more effort. But when you give it without boundaries, she'll feel something is off. That tension she once felt, the spark, the mystery, it fades. And she'll start poking at you, unconsciously trying to restore it. She'll start arguments just to see if you still have a spine. And if you cave, if you respond with more, "I'll do better," baby energy, she doesn't get closer, she pulls away. Because deep down, she needs a man who doesn't break just because she raises her voice. Masculine energy is like a lighthouse. It doesn't chase storms, it doesn't sway with the wind, it stays put, and that's why it's respected. Your calm, your focus, your discipline. It makes her feel something she can't even describe. Safe, held, challenged, alive. But the second she becomes your reason for being, that masculine energy flickers. Now you are seeking direction in her, and that's the beginning of the end. Not because she doesn't care, but because she can't lead where she was built to follow. There's a sacred line in every man's life between giving love and losing self, between honoring her needs and abandoning your mission. And if you cross it too often, you become resentful. You start blaming her for your stagnation. But the truth? She never asked you to shrink. She just reacted to the energy shift you caused by abandoning your frame. And now both of you are stuck. She's disinterested and you're confused, wondering why doing everything right ended with you feeling so wrong. You've got to remember something that most men forget. Women want to be claimed, not coddled. When you show up with purpose, and she knows she's not the main character in your life story, but an honored guest in your world, that ignites a fire in her. She starts to lean in more. She respects your time. She respects your grind. And most importantly, she starts trying to earn you, not just keep you. Because now, you're not a man she owns. You're a man she admires. The harsh truth is, most relationships fall apart, not because of cheating or conflict, but because the man gave away his polarity. He became too soft, too available, too invested in making her happy at all costs. And the cost was her desire. She can't tell you why she feels distant. She'll say, "I just don't feel it anymore." And you'll be left replaying all your sacrifices, wondering where it went wrong. But the answer was simple. You stopped being the man she respected. A woman will never say it out loud, but the man she dreams of is the one she has to chase a little. The one who listens but doesn't need her approval. The one who loves her, but not at the expense of his path. He doesn't drop everything for a phone call. He doesn't rearrange his schedule for her moods. He's kind but firm, caring but immovable. And that tension, that subtle reminder that he could leave at any moment and still be whole, is what keeps her feminine energy engaged. Now, some men hear this and think, so I have to play hard to get. No, brother, this isn't about pretending. This is about being so full of purpose, so aligned with your values, so dedicated to growth, that her presence in your life is a bonus, not a necessity. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. When she feels that you're whole without her, it triggers something primal, a deep desire to be part of your world, not to be your world. This is why stoicism in men is magnetic, not because it's cold, but because it signals control, and control equals safety. Emotional chaos doesn't scare her, it's her native tongue. But when you respond to that chaos with grounded calm, you become the anchor. And in a world that constantly changes, a grounded man is a rare find. She doesn't want to lead the relationship. She does it when you stop. But when you lead, quietly, confidently, consistently, she relaxes, she trusts, and yes, she obeys. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. So here's the truth, brother. If you want her to love you, let her feel your strength. If you want her to respect you, let her know she's not your god. And if you want her to stay, never let her feel like you've put her above your mission. She will only ever respect a man who makes her feel like she could lose him to something greater, not another woman, but a higher purpose. That's the man who wins, that's the man who keeps her, and that's the man you were born to be. There's a reason the nonchalant man drives her crazy. He's not cold, but he's unbothered. He doesn't react to every emotional flare-up. He doesn't beg, plead, or panic, and she feels that. Deep down, she wonders, why doesn't he need me the way others did? And that curiosity, that subtle insecurity, it keeps her invested. Not because she's toxic, but because challenge sustains desire. When a man responds to everything she does with calm detachment, it signals power. And power in the female mind is respect-worthy. You ever notice how a woman will complain about a man not giving her enough attention but refuse to leave him? Or how she chases the guy who barely responds while ignoring the one who texts good morning every day? That's not dysfunction, that's wiring. When you're too eager, too available, too responsive, you become predictable, and predictability in a relationship, especially early on, kills intrigue. She doesn't want to know you'll always be there. She wants to hope you might. Every man must realize, the moment you become emotionally dependent on her presence, you lose leverage. She senses it. She sees you bend, accommodate, compromise, not from strength, but fear. And once that fear creeps in, it changes the energy. You're no longer the grounded man she admired. You're now the man she manages, and respect doesn't survive in management. It thrives in mystery, direction, and the unspoken truth that you will not be led. If you want her love to deepen, let her earn it. Let her see that your time is sacred, your energy is precious, and your life isn't a stage for her moods. That doesn't mean being cruel, it means being clear. You're not there to chase emotions, you're there to build a life. And the woman who walks beside you must understand, she is part of the journey, not the destination. She is loved but not worshipped, valued but not above your purpose. Too many men hand women the emotional wheel. They think, if I do everything right, she'll finally give me peace. But peace doesn't come from appeasing chaos. Peace comes from boundaries, from clarity, from having the courage to say, no, that's not how this works. And you'll be amazed how quickly a woman respects you when you stop negotiating with her emotions and start standing in your standards. There's something primal about a man who can look a woman in the eyes and say, you're important to me, but I will not let you dictate how I lead. That energy, it shakes something in her. It's a reminder that her feminine energy isn't designed to overpower your masculine, it's designed to respond to it. And when you bring that leadership, not through dominance but direction, she softens, because now she doesn't have to carry both energies anymore. She can finally relax into hers. You've probably seen it before. The guy who bends over backward for her, gives her everything, and still gets dumped. Why? Because she doesn't feel what she needs to feel. She doesn't feel led. She doesn't feel challenged. She doesn't feel the pull of a man who is unshakable. And without that feeling, love turns to boredom, and boredom turns to resentment, and resentment turns to disrespect. Not because she's ungrateful, but because she needed you to stay solid, and you melted. A woman can fall in love with your charm, your looks, your words, but she only respects the man who's willing to walk away. That's the test most men fail. They think love is proven through endurance, but sometimes love is proven through absence, through silence, through saying, if you can't meet me here, I'll go alone. That kind of strength doesn't repel women, it draws them in, because it shows her this man isn't afraid to lose me, and that makes him the one worth not losing. This is what most high-value men understand intuitively. When you live with purpose, when you move with intention, you don't need to make her your everything. You already are everything. Your mission, your discipline, your peace, those are your core. And if she aligns with that, beautiful. If not, no hate, no drama, just distance. And that distance, it teaches her more than your words ever could. It teaches her you're not a man who negotiates with chaos. So to every man reading this, hear me now. Stop trying to be the perfect boyfriend. Be the real man. The man who builds before he bonds. The man who leads before he loves. The man who doesn't seek permission to be who he is. Because in the end, it's not the flowers, the poems, or the date nights that make her stay. It's the energy of a man who refuses to let her become his god. That man gets her respect, her admiration, and yes, her obsession. The irony of it all is that the more you chase her, the more she runs. The more you pour your time, your energy, and your identity into her approval, the more she pulls back. Not because she hates affection, but because she senses you've placed her above yourself. And no woman, no matter how sweet or devoted, can respect a man who abandons himself for her validation. She may enjoy the comfort, she may enjoy the power, but deep in her core, respect dies the second she becomes the center of your universe. A woman's respect is earned in your absence as much as in your presence. When she sees that you don't text her all day because you're busy grinding. When she feels that your silence isn't punishment, it's focus. When she realizes that your time is not just available on demand, but scheduled around priorities that don't revolve around her, that's when she starts respecting you. That's when admiration grows. Because she sees a man with a spine, a man with a life, a man with gravity. Men lose that gravity when they try to make her the source of their happiness. When every mood, every plan, every emotional shift hinges on how she feels, or what she says, or what she does. That's not leadership, that's codependence in disguise. And women are wired to test for that, not consciously, but emotionally. She'll start pushing boundaries, she'll pull back affection, she'll create tension, not to destroy the relationship, but to feel if the man she's with can hold the frame. And if you fail that frame, if you react, chase, over-explain, or beg for reassurance, the dynamic shifts. She no longer sees you as the calm in the storm. You become the storm. And she can't relax into her feminine because you've dropped your masculine. You've made her your anchor. And no woman wants to be the emotional rock for a man she's supposed to look up to. She might tolerate it, but she will never respect it. And without respect, love dies a slow and silent death. True respect is quiet. It's not begged for, bought, or bartered. It's felt in how you carry yourself, in how you say no, in how you hold your vision when she's emotional, in how you don't change your core just to make her comfortable. And she may fight that at first. She may resist, challenge, or even threaten to leave. But if you hold the line, not with anger, not with arrogance, but with unshakable certainty, she will either grow into the woman you need or exit your life entirely. And either way, you win. Because you're not a man who needs her presence to feel complete. You're a man who chooses who stays in his life. And women feel that. They sense the difference between a man who needs them to function and a man who functions regardless. That's the man who doesn't get ghosted. That's the man who doesn't get disrespected. That's the man who walks away when standards are crossed and watches her crawl back later, not because he begged, but because he didn't. Stop trying to be loved. Start being respected. Stop trying to make her feel secure at the cost of your own boundaries. Start letting her feel the weight of a man who doesn't move just because she's emotional. That doesn't mean being distant. It means being grounded. And when you're grounded, her chaos doesn't sway you. Her tests don't move you. Her mood doesn't own you. And that makes you rare. That makes you powerful. That makes you unforgettable. It's funny how women talk about wanting the sweet guy, the attentive guy, the always available guy, and then leave him for the man who doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't need her. And that's because on paper, she wants comfort, but in her soul, she craves certainty. The kind that only comes from a man who lives for something greater than her. A man whose loyalty is first to his mission, not her emotions. That's the man she respects. That's the man she follows. If you want to be the man who keeps her respect long term, make peace with this truth. You will always be tested. The tests never end. They're not evil, they're biological. And the only way to pass is not to fight them, but to expect them. Stay cool, stay centered, stay detached from the outcome, because when she sees that her chaos doesn't move you, only then will she surrender to your strength. And when she does, the relationship becomes effortless. Not because she stopped testing, but because you stopped failing. So here's the final truth. A woman will love many men in her lifetime, but she will only respect the one who doesn't need her, the one who loves her without worshipping her, who desires her without prioritizing her above himself, the one who can walk away, who never trades his mission for a moment of comfort. That man, he becomes her standard, her addiction, her anchor. Be that man, not the one who pleases, not the one who sacrifices himself. Be the one she knows she can never shake, because you were never chasing in the first place.